Okay, so welcome. I'm going to very quickly run through how I use the scripts to TAS PS2 games. I don't like the clunky input method of 1.4.0 or of even the 1.7.0 ones, just because it feels slow and arduous to me. I much prefer my method, and hopefully you guys will as well. It's not too complicated, especially if you have some kind of programming language knowledge. But even so, even if you don't, it's not too terrible, so don't get scared off by this. So right now I have all the files, and I've even added a video files that will come in later, a video files folder. Got Notepad, and I have Ratchet & Clank running right now, and I have a save state set right here. You see, if you see that little glitch there that happens, that's the emulator. So for like the very first few frames, it bugs out a little bit, and that's very, very frustrating. Please fix that. Anyways, I'm going to provide the save state as well as a link to get all the files in the description down there. So follow along if you want to. If you want to try to learn as you watch rather than just take the information in. So the very first thing that I do when I'm ready to script is I take a blank script and create a copy and rename it. The way I rename things is I put the game name, put a dash, and then put segment number. We'll say this is segment 5, and then put a small description. So the goal for this task is to do an infinite long jump over the water and then through this door. Obviously, that may not be used in the runs, but it's just useful as an example. I don't like that I didn't capitalize that, so let me change that. And I'm going to drag and drop it into there. And I'm also going to open it. You can't see it on my screen, but down here in the taskbar, a small green H should appear, and that just means that the script is running. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to phase 1, and I'm going to figure out how to do this. So obviously, first things first, I'm going to need to run forward. So I'm going to use the left stick right now. By the way, all the functions for the buttons and inputs and stuff are right at the bottom, and they have a small description of how to use them. Hopefully it's straightforward. If not, I'll try to explain them as I use them. So left stick, this sets the left stick to a specific coordinate. So in neutral, it's set as coordinates 50, 50. So this first number is left and right position. The second number, this first position is up and down position, and then this number is left and right position. So 50-50 is up and down is right in the center, as well as left and right. If I was to change this to 100, and this means that the left stick isn't moving left or right because that's still set as 50, but it's right at the top. And then if I set this to 0, that means that the left stick is all the way to the left because of the 0 and all the way forward. So that's essentially up left. So if I were to do that, and then I'm going to add 100 frames of waiting just to show this off. And then if I go to the window, press F5 to reload the script, press F3 to reload the state, and then press Insert to run this script, which will go through phases 1 to 9. We've only put anything in phase 1, the rest of them are empty, so it will just run this. As you can see, it works up left for 100 frames, and then it will stop because it reaches the end, releases all buttons, and returns. This command here doesn't actually do anything on its own other than set a position. So you can have, say, 5 of these, and then this one will put at 0 or 100. So it will run in these in order, it will set them in order, but because it doesn't advance the game, it's the very last one that pays attention, that matters, so this will run down right instead. But we want forward, so 150 it is. I think 100 frames will be too much, because that will just run off the edge. For ILJs, you don't want to run off the edge. And it freezes there. Yeah, that's way too long. So let's try 50 frames, around half the time. And then just reload and thing it. 50 might work, so we'll go with 50 for now. By the way, all I'm doing there is I'm alt-tabbing between these two windows. Whoops. So I'm just... Once I've made a change to here, I'm saving it. If you look up here, the red save icon up there means that it's got unsaved things. So I'm just pressing Ctrl S to save, alt-tabbing over to the emulator window, pressing F5, pressing F3, giving it a second, and then pressing Insert to run the script. So now that we're here, I'm actually going to set a new save state by pressing F2 to advance the slot number, and then pressing F1 to save this new state. So now if I reload, it's right there. So I'm going to go to my controller. I'm going to hold R1 and X, because that's how you do a long jump. And it seems like that's fine. So now I need to learn how to do ILJs. I've watched Ricky's video, and I think I've learned it. So I'm going to hold R1 and cross, and advance the frame once by pressing space. Going to release them all and then advance one more time. Every time that I press space, this number is going to go up one. That's the frame counter. Just so that you know at home. And then I think we can just hold left and R1 and then advance. And then release and then advance. And keep doing this over and over. And that should give ILJs. So it looks like this is perfect. So now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to comment out phase 1. So it skips over all of this. And it'll go straight to phase 2 instead. So I'm going to hold R1. This as well, like the left stick, this doesn't actually advance the game state, it just preps the controller inputs for the next frame. I'm going to press cross. So hold R1, hold cross, and then because this isn't a hold or release, it's just the button itself, it will also advance a frame. So I don't have to wait one frame there. And then release R1, and then I think we need to wait one frame. And let's very quickly see what this is. So it does the inputs. Nice. So now we need to do hold D left and R1, release D left, and then wait one frame. So similar to this, that just preps holding left and then it presses R1, and that causes Ratchet to do a side flip, and then that in turn does the buggy long jump thing. It should do anyways. So we could duplicate this. So what I'm doing there is I'm highlighting and pressing Ctrl D. And it seems like that's working. But a much more elegant way to do this is surround this in curly braces and then put a loop function. So let's say we want to loop this 10 times. Oops, I didn't actually delete that one up there. There we go. No. That's fine, yeah, so that's the initial one. That's the first one. Okay, so now we can refine this. So let's try 15. Okay, so that didn't actually do an ILJ. Let's try 10. Okay, 10 looks like it's good. Also, while the script is running, you have to have this window as the active window. It's a bit annoying, but I just, for some reason, could not figure out how to sort that out. And it looks like the more frames that there is between each rep of the ILJs, the more speed you gain, potentially. Seems like we slide further. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know how this game functions yet. I don't know how I've not really messed around with this all too much. Okay, 12 is too many. So what I was doing there was, we knew 10 worked. So I increased it by 1. 11 worked. I increased it by 1 again. 12 doesn't work, so I know that 11 is the max. So now we've done ILJs, we've done what we want to do. But the thing is, I know that in Ratchet 1, ILJs can be used a lot of places. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create a function similar to these. So hold R1 is just a function, just sends the virtual input to R1. Cross just sends the virtual input to cross and then advances a frame and then releases the button. I'm going to do something similar for this. So I'm going to go into my controls.ahk, scroll down to the bottom to add a custom command. So I'm going to name it ILJ, just add the bare bones. So what do we want? We want... So you can do this left or right. I don't know if you can do it up or down, but I'm only going to incorporate it for left or right. So we want a direction, which I'm going to label D, and we want a repetition number. So I'm going to label that as X. So D equals direction, X equals rep number. So because we've already actually figured out how to do this, we can just copy all of this code. So now if in phase 2 we were to do ILJ, I haven't actually denoted anything for that, so I'm just going to do 1, and just so that the script actually functions. So this function is exactly the same as just having that, but it's all just in this one command. And rather than then copying this block of code wherever, we can just do ILJ and then denote direction, denote how many times. So we don't actually want it to loop 10, we want it to loop X times. So in AHK we do that by doing X surrounded by percentages. That's all fine. So we want to have directions. So if D is equal to, we'll say 1, so 1 equals left. Going to put a curly brace, and we've already got the command there. And because I don't know if you can do it with more than one directions, I'm just more than 2 directions. I'm going to just do left and right. I'm not going to do like an else or anything. Oh, Jesus Christ, my spelling. Right, righty. So hold D right. So this is going to, because this is at a 1, it's going to look through this, it's going to perform these. Because X is also 1, it's going to do this lot once. So it's going to check if D is 1. If D is 1, it's going to just hold left. It's going to check if D is 2. D isn't 2, so it's going to ignore all of this. And then it's going to go down here, press R1, release D left. That needs to change because it could be D right, so release all. And then wait for MC11 because 11 is the maximum amount. So we should change this to 10. That was how many reps we had before, wasn't it? How many loops. So let's press insert, and it looks like it works. Just double check. Yep, it actually looks like we are missing one ILJ. So I'll take 1 off. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, we're missing 2, so 8 reps. And then I'd be able to then do any other inputs immediately after that. And that looks good? Yeah. Okay, so now what I want to do is we actually want to play it from this starting position, not from this position. So up here, all I have to do, get rid of that semicolon, and now it also includes everything in phase 1. Thankfully, Ratchet & Clank seems to be fairly nice with save states. That's really good. And because we know that this works, this is really not a lot of code. So you can actually just then copy and paste that to the end here. And then you could play through. And then to carry on, once this reaches the end of this phase, once it does 8 ILJs... Whoops. I accidentally pressed space then once, I think. Oh, no. Okay, something's going wrong. Ah! I see. It's because this is holding the left stick fully up all the way. And I'm guessing... So I'm going to hold right on the left stick. Yeah, so left stick overwrites D-pad inputs. Okay, that's not good. So, in here, what we want to do is we want to add a release all command at the very start of it, and that should fix that. Yeah, okay. So, to carry on, we would wait until this ends. That's where it ends. Advance the save slot. Save a new state. Comment out to phase 1. And then go to phase 2. And then we just do whatever inputs we want to do next. So let's say we want to do an attack, so just square, and then wait frames. We'll just wait 100. Okay, it doesn't actually attack, but that's fine. 100 reaches us there, so let's do 80, and then attack, and then wait frames 100 just to see what happens. Okay, so the attack came out, and we ended up there somehow. I have no idea how. That's fine. Let's say that's what we want to do. So now, exactly the same as before, we can go back a slot, include save, phase 1, refresh, reload, play. And fingers crossed, this should work. For the majority of games, I imagine this will work every single time. It's just, Sly Cooper is really, really annoying. And a little bit buggy with save states. Yeah, okay, perfect. So now, what we want to do is stop the emulation by pressing space. Press F5, press F3. And now, press F12. So this will bring up capture settings. You want to browse to wherever you want video files saved. So I'm saving them in video files just there. I'm going to name it exactly the same as this. So I'm just copying that, pasting it. My file types are MP4. You can go in config, you can change all of this. This is a little bit weird and annoying to deal with. But if you can, copy my settings. The video files are decently large, but they're decent quality as well. There's no quality loss from what you see here to the video. So if you want to copy these, go for it. Also, that's the preset down there. So I've just named it. Press OK. And if I go into video files, the video and the audio get recorded separate, and they haven't got anything yet because nothing's been played. So I'm going to double check. Script is loaded. Save state is loaded. We're on slot 0, and I'm going to, first of all, add a little bit of buffer just for the video by pressing P there. P pauses and unpauses the emulation. And I'm going to press insert. I'm going to let it go through. Let it do its thing. Okay, so because I waited, it didn't end up on the edge, but that's fine. And then I'm going to play it for a little bit, just to add a little bit of end buffer to the video. And F12 to finish. And as you can see, these now have a file size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Sony Vegas. I'm going to drag both of these into the project media and also into the timeline. Also for that is, the video is 43 megabytes for roughly 10 seconds. Just as an example. So if you can see here, it has the video. It does also have the weird save state thing at the very start. I don't know where to avoid that, so I'm just going to zoom in. For Vegas specifically, because these are separate things, they aren't linked to each other, so I'm going to click 1, hold Control, quickly over and press G That groups them together so it acts as one media file. S to split, delete there, and then drag it to the start. So it starts here. And I'm just going to very quickly pause the music and play this through. Okay, because the file size is quite big, it can do that sometimes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to render this and add it into the video now. And that's what it looks like. And that's how you test.